The Dutch government has announced new export restrictions on microchip technology sales, citing security concerns. The proposal would restrict the sale of advanced machines that are critical to chip production. ASML is the sole supplier of these devices. The proposed rules would include machines made by ASML, one of the most important microchip firms in the world.
Imagine your iPhone suddenly turning into a brick because tiny pieces of silicon can't cross an ocean. That's exactly what's happening as the Netherlands just blocked China from getting the world's most advanced chip-making machines. Trump tried building a wall, but the Dutch just built an invisible one that's actually working. ASML, a company that sounds like a text message typo, is now at the center of the biggest tech Cold War since we fought over who gets to use the TV remote. Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favor. If you appreciate this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch the videos without subscribing. It costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us. So, did you click the subscribe button? Great, thank you so much. Now, back to the video. Did you know your smartphone is basically held hostage by a company from the land of tulips and legal weed? Yeah, that's right. While everyone's busy watching America and China flex their muscles in the tech war, a Dutch company named ASML has quietly become the kingpin of the entire digital world. They're like the printer company from hell that decides whether your phone works or becomes a fancy paperweight.
It's something that we've seen both the Trump administration and now the Biden administration united in terms of trying to stop China's advance.
The U.S. recently lobbied allies to follow in its footsteps in banning sales of advanced technology to China. The announcement doesn't specifically mention China, but it's widely seen as targeting Beijing. China's foreign ministry has said it opposes the plan for limiting normal economic and
What makes ASML so special? They've got a complete monopoly on extreme ultraviolet lithography machines. That's tech speak for the only things that can make really tiny patterns on computer chips. Without these machines, you can kiss your iPhone, Tesla, or fancy AI assistant goodbye. It's basically digital extortion with wooden shoes. These UV machines aren't your grandma's inkjet printer. Each one costs more than $150 million. That's like buying a private island just to print some photos. And they're so massive they need 40 shipping containers just to transport one. Imagine trying to move an entire McDonald's franchise across the ocean, but way more expensive and with significantly fewer Happy Meal toys.
And what we understand is that US officials have been pressuring the Netherlands and ASML to stop providing China with this equipment and surpass the US in terms of high technology. And one of the choke points in their bid to do so is this lithography equipment. This 95% of this equipment has a 95% market share globally. It really could put the brakes on their ability to catch up with the US.
China's tech ambitions have hit a Dutch-sized roadblock because these machines are literally impossible to copy. Beijing's brightest minds have been banging their heads against the wall trying to replicate this technology for years. Turns out copying Fortnite dances is a lot easier than building the most complex machines ever invented. Who knew? The desperation is so real that Chinese operatives have resorted to actual espionage. We're talking straight up spy movie stuff here. The Chinese government has been sending agents to steal ASML's secrets, probably hiding blueprints in their luggage between pairs of knockoff Nikes. It's like watching a bad Netflix thriller, except the stakes are the entire technological future of a superpower. While America was busy slapping tariffs on random Chinese products nobody cares about, the Netherlands, yes, the country most famous for its flood management, quietly became the most powerful tech gatekeeper on the planet. Trump was out there bragging about taxing Chinese washing machines, while the Dutch were controlling the one thing China actually needs. The funniest part, with one bureaucratic decision, this Dutch company accomplished what 4 years of Trump's trade war couldn't. They actually prevented China from getting the technology they need to compete with America. Turns out the real power move wasn't screaming China into a microphone at rallies. It was a bunch of Dutch engineers saying "nee" to Beijing's shopping list.
Conductors could take yet another hit soon. Japan and the Netherlands will soon join the US in restricting exports of semiconductor manufacturing equipment to China. Sources said the Netherlands will stop tech giant ASML from selling machines to China that make advanced chips. A government spokesperson said Japan would make appropriate steps based on regulatory moves made by the US and other nations.
The Dutch slammed the door on China's chip shopping. They didn't just inconvenience some tech nerds, they triggered panic across China's entire industrial complex. Imagine your country suddenly can't have the one ingredient needed for literally every important product you make. That's why executives in Beijing are losing sleep and probably chugging baijiu by the gallon right now. China's tech future is basically held hostage by tiny chips smaller than your fingernail. Everything from their military equipment to the phones in people's pockets depends on these microscopic marvels. The problem? China can't make the advanced ones themselves, and now they can't buy them either. It's like wanting to bake a cake but being allergic to flour and having Walmart ban you from the baking aisle. Huawei, once China's pride and joy in the smartphone world, is now the sad kid showing up to prom in his dad's outdated suit. They're shipping new phones with chips from 2020 because they have no choice. That's not just embarrassing. It's like trying to compete in the Olympics wearing wooden clogs while everyone else has Nike super shoes. America basically played the ultimate wingman move here. They sidled up to the Netherlands and whispered, "See that guy China over there? Total creep, don't sell him any drinks." And just like that, the Dutch bartender cut China off. No more chip making machines for you. The desperation is getting weird. Chinese companies are grabbing any chips they can find like they're bargain hunters at a Black Friday sale gone wrong. Even the older, less powerful chips are getting snatched up because something is better than nothing when your entire industry is at stake. BYD, China's electric car champion that was supposed to crush Tesla, is now stuck in the garage. They've had to delay launching new models because they can't get the chips they need. Turns out making a smart car requires smart chips. Who knew? It's like trying to build a spaceship with calculator parts from the 1980s. This chip drama has created a domino effect through China's tech sector that's painful to watch. Even their biggest success stories like Xiaomi are struggling to stay competitive on the global stage. When your flagship products are running on yesterday's technology, customers start looking elsewhere faster than Trump changes his story about January 6th. The Netherlands' decision has put China in an impossible position. Either give up their dreams of tech dominance or find shadier ways to get what they need. It's like being told you can't use the elevator to the penthouse, so your only options are taking the stairs for 100 floors or trying to rappel down from the roof like Tom Cruise. So here we are, folks. China's basically facing an impossible multiple choice test with no correct answers. They could try building their own chip machines, but that's like trying to build a Ferrari from scratch when you can barely change your oil. Or they could try sneaking around sanctions, which would just make everyone madder than Trump at a fact-checking convention. Maybe they'll settle for outdated chips or buddy up with tech-challenged countries like Russia. But let's be real, you can't win a tech race driving a horse and buggy. China's missing the three essentials: legitimate licenses, precision tools, and decades of technical know-how. The Dutch checkmate is looking pretty permanent.